All right, so today we are taking a deep dive into daily journaling prompts.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
We're going to be looking at this blog post from Lestallion, and they give you like 50 of them.
50.
And, you're listening to this, you're probably already into self-improvement.
Right.
So, journaling is not a new concept.
Yeah.
But we're going to try to go like a level deeper today.
Absolutely.
And really pull out what are the golden nuggets?
Yeah, what's the good stuff here? What makes these tick? How can you unlock some real self-discovery by using some of these?
Yeah. So let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
The first category that they talk about is gratitude prompts.
Gratitude.
And I love this because I think so often people, when they think about gratitude, it's like, oh, I'm just, listing things I'm grateful for.
Right.
But these prompts kind of take it to another level, right? So one of them is, what's one detail you've never noticed before, and why do you appreciate it now?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or what did someone say that you appreciated, and why did it stand out?
Mm-hmm.
It really makes you think.
It does, yeah, because you have to sort of look back and really think through your day and your interactions and pull out those golden nuggets. And I think that's what's so important, right? Because it's about shifting your focus to the positive, but it's not just surface level, I'm grateful for my house, I'm grateful for my family.
Right.
It's about those deeper levels of gratitude and searching for the things that maybe you wouldn't think about being grateful for in the first place.
It's like training your brain, actively looking for those things throughout the day.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so it's not just about feeling good in that moment, but actually rewiring your brain for long-term happiness.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and there's actually been some really fascinating research done on this. So there was a study published in Cerebral Cortex that found that practicing gratitude actually increases gray matter in the areas of the brain associated with emotional regulation and happiness.
So it's like a literal workout for your brain, building up those pathways.
Exactly. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
I love that.
And that ties in perfectly with Lestallion's quote, gratitude unlocks the beauty in everyday moments.
Okay, so we've primed our brains for positivity with those gratitude prompts.
We are ready to go.
Now, let's get a little introspective with some self-reflection prompts. Right?
Okay, let's dive in.
So one of the ones that really jumped out at me was, reflect on a time you faced a difficult choice.
Ooh, that is a good one.
What guided your decision, and how do you feel about it now?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this one could really unearth some deep-seated beliefs.
It can, for sure.
Yeah.
Because it forces you to think back on, maybe those really pivotal moments in your life and really examine why did I make that choice? What was going through my head? Was it, my intuition? Was it fear? Was it something someone else told me to do?
And then, how do you feel about it now?
Right. Has your perspective changed? Do you still agree with yourself? I think that's such a powerful question to ask yourself.
It's like having a conversation with your past self almost.
It is. It's like checking in, hey, past me, how we doing? Did we make the right call?
Do you think, though, that this could lead to dwelling on regrets for some people?
That's a great point. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that, we all have regrets. We all have things that we wish we had done differently.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal of revisiting these decisions in our journal isn't to wallow in them, right?
Yeah.
It's about gaining understanding. It's about learning from those experiences. And it's about recognizing those patterns in our decision making.
Yeah.
So that we can make more conscious choices moving forward.
I love it. It's like turning what ifs into what nows.
Exactly. And Lestallion actually says something really similar to that in their post.
Okay, tell me.
They say self-reflection helps you understand where you've been and where you want to go.
I love that. All right, enough looking back.
I agree.
Let's tap into our creative juices with some of these prompts.
Oh, yes. I love the creativity ones.
So this one is, describe a dream or idea you've had recently.
Ooh, dreams.
How could you turn it into reality, and what excites you about it?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like for a lot of people, they have these dreams, they have these ideas, but they just kind of stay up here.
Absolutely. They just sort of float around.
They never actually get put into action steps.
Right.
Do you think the journaling could be a catalyst for that?
Oh, I absolutely think so. Because what journaling does, it kind of acts as that direct line to our subconscious mind.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it allows us to explore those like fleeting ideas and those daydreams that we might normally just dismiss, right? And
Right.
think, oh, that's just a silly little thought, and then it's gone. But by actually giving it space on the page, we give it form.
Wow.
We start to flesh it out, and we allow ourselves to connect with our creative potential.
So it's like our journal becomes this safe space where we can, like, brainstorm without judgment.
Yes, a judgment-free zone.
I love that.
No limitations. Just let those ideas flow. And I think, when we approach it with a sense of playfulness and curiosity, we open ourselves up to so many new possibilities.
So true. And Lestallion actually says something really interesting about that.
What's that?
They say, creativity lives in the small moments of exploration and play.
That's so true.
Like, we don't have to wait for this, like, big, grand moment of inspiration.
Right, it's those little moments.
It could be in the everyday.
Exactly, just paying attention.
Oh, I love that. Okay, enough about, like, brainstorming and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get down to, like, the nitty-gritty.
Real stuff.
Goal setting.
Yes, goals.
Right. So one of the prompts is describe your vision for the next 6 months. What milestones do you hope to reach, and how will you celebrate them?
Ooh, celebrating is important.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like this one could be like a game changer for people who, like, they have these big aspirations.
Right, they have the dreams, but they don't know how to get there.
They don't know how to actually get there.
Yeah.
Do you think journaling can help with that?
Oh, absolutely. Because there's something so powerful about writing down your goals. It's like you're making a declaration.
Like a contract with yourself almost.
It is. It's like you're signing on the dotted line saying, I'm committed to this. And it just makes it feel so much more real and tangible.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, when you write it down, you can start to break it down into those smaller, more actionable steps.
Oh, that's so important, right?
It is, because sometimes, those big goals can feel really daunting.
Yeah, overwhelming.
But when you break it down into those bite-sized pieces, it suddenly feels much more achievable.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can do this one little thing today.
It's like a roadmap, like, to success.
Exactly. It's like you're mapping out your route.
Do you think there's, like, common pitfalls that people might experience when they're trying to, like, set goals in their journals?
Oh, for sure. I think one of the biggest ones is setting goals that are too vague.
Okay.
Like, I want to be happier. Well, what does that actually mean?
Right. What does that look like?
Right, exactly. So it's about being really specific and breaking it down into those smaller, measurable steps.
Yeah, those baby steps.
Yeah, exactly. And the other pitfall I see a lot is, people forget to celebrate the wins along the way.
Yeah, that's so important.
It is. Because you got to recognize those milestones.
Give yourself a little pat on the back.
Absolutely. No matter how small, celebrate them. Because it boosts your motivation, it keeps you on track, it reminds you that you're making progress.
So important. And, Lestallion says this really well. They say, every big dream starts with a single step.
They're right.
Like, it's so true, right?
It's a reminder that progress isn't always about those giant leaps.
Right.
It's about those small, consistent steps forward.
Okay, so we've done gratitude, we've done self-reflection.
We've got our goals set.
We've set goals, we're feeling good.
We're on a roll.
Now we need to, like, shift gears
Okay.
into, like, a more relaxed state
Ah, I like where this is going.
with mindfulness prompts.
Yes.
So one of the ones that they have in here is, think about a time when you felt truly relaxed.
Hmm.
What created that peace? And how can you bring more of it into your life?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm, like, already feeling zen just thinking about that.
It's like an instant relaxation technique just thinking about it.
Yeah. Like, how cool is that you can use journaling prompts to, like, tap into that feeling?
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think what's so great about mindfulness prompts is they encourage us to just pause,
Yeah.
hit the pause button on autopilot,
Right.
and just tune in to our present moment experience.
So it's not about trying to, like, change anything or fix anything.
No.
Just observing.
Observe and accept.
That's a powerful concept.
It is. It's like giving yourself permission to just be. And I think journaling can be a fantastic tool for cultivating mindfulness because it allows us to become more aware of our thoughts, our feelings, and even our bodily sensations without judgment.
So powerful.
It is. And it just ties in so beautifully with Lestallion's quote, mindfulness turns ordinary moments into extraordinary experiences.
I love that.
Because it really highlights how mindfulness can totally shift your perspective and help you appreciate even the smallest things.
It's like finding the magic in the mundane, right?
Exactly. It's all about perspective.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. We've done gratitude, self-reflection, creativity, goal setting, even mindfulness,
We've been busy.
all through the lens of Lestallion's journaling prompts.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the most valuable takeaway so far for our listener?
I think the biggest takeaway is that journaling is such a powerful tool for self-discovery, for personal growth. It doesn't matter if you're using it to cultivate gratitude or to explore past decisions or to unlock your creativity or to set goals or to just be more mindful. Journaling can help you connect with your authentic self and live a more fulfilling life.
I love that. And, it's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's not about writing these like masterpiece journal entries.
Right. Throw perfectionism out the window.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about showing up for yourself, being honest, and letting those thoughts and feelings flow.
Letting it all out.
If someone is like on the fence, they're not sure if they want to start journaling, what advice would you give them?
Oh, I would say start small. You don't have to commit to an hour every day.
Right.
Just start with 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And don't worry about sounding profound or writing perfectly. Just be yourself. Let those thoughts flow naturally.
That's such good advice. So make it a habit, not a chore.
Exactly. Make it something you enjoy.
Okay. Well, I think we've laid a good foundation here
We've got the basics down.
for understanding the power of journaling prompts.
Absolutely. But there's still so much more to explore.
Yeah. And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to delve even deeper into the actual process of journaling.
We are going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to make those journaling sessions really effective.
I'm excited for that.
Me too. It's going to be good.
So stay tuned, folks, because we're just getting started. So we've talked about all these awesome journaling prompts, but how do we actually make the most of our journaling sessions? Like, what does a really effective session even look like?
Ooh, that's a good question. One thing that I think can be really helpful is to actually create a ritual around your journaling practice.
A ritual. Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be anything like super fancy or elaborate. It could be something as simple as like lighting a candle or making a cup of tea or finding like a quiet corner where you won't be disturbed.
Oh, okay. So it's just about like creating a space that feels, conducive to reflection.
Exactly. It's like signaling to your mind and body that, okay, it's time to transition into this like more introspective state.
I love that. It's like creating a mini sanctuary for self-reflection.
Yes, exactly. But what about like the actual writing process? Like, do you have any tips for someone who might be, staring at the blank page and feeling a little intimidated?
Oh, absolutely. I think the first and foremost thing to remember is that there are no rules in journaling. It's not about writing perfectly or sounding profound or like, impressing anyone. It's really just about giving yourself permission to express your thoughts and feelings freely without judgment.
So it's more about the process than the product.
Exactly. It's about being authentic and vulnerable and just letting it all out on the page.
I love that. And, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that idea of journaling as a tool for self-discovery.
Totally.
Right? Like when we let go of that need to be perfect, I feel like we open ourselves up to so many more insights and perspectives. Absolutely. Because, when we're trying to be perfect, we're often censoring ourselves.
Yeah, we're holding back.
Right, exactly. And we're not really allowing those like deeper truths to emerge.
So embrace the messiness.
Yes. The mess is where the magic happens.
But what about like, those times when you're staring at the page and literally nothing is coming out? Like, did you have any tips for those moments?
Oh, for sure. Those moments happen to everyone.
Yeah.
And, I think sometimes it's just helpful to start writing whatever comes to mind.
Even if it's just gibberish.
Even if it's total nonsense, just like stream of consciousness. Because sometimes the act of putting pen to paper, it just sort of like unlocks something.
It's like trying to pump, get those creative juices flowing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so just write anything. What else?
Another thing that can be really helpful is to use the prompts as like springboards rather than strict guidelines.
Oh, okay.
So, if a prompt doesn't resonate with you or it just doesn't feel like relevant to what's going on in your life right now, don't force it.
Right.
Just let it spark other thoughts and ideas.
Yeah, use it as a jumping off point.
Exactly.
Don't feel like you have to answer it literally.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment with, different writing styles and techniques.
Ooh, like what?
Like some people really love to write in like a stream of consciousness style.
Okay.
Just like whatever pops into their head, they write it down.
Okay.
Other people prefer to be like a little bit more structured and organized.
Bullet points, maybe?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, it's about finding what works for you and your unique style of expression.
And that might take some experimentation.
It might. And, speaking of experimenting, one thing I really love about Lestallion's list of prompts is the variety.
Yeah, there's a ton of them.
They cover everything from gratitude to self-reflection to creativity to goal setting to mindfulness.
It's like a buffet of prompts.
It is. And do you think there's any benefit to, like, incorporating a mix of those into our journaling practice?
Oh, absolutely. Because I think each type of prompt, like, invites us to explore a different facet of ourselves.
Right.
Like, gratitude prompts help us focus on the positive. Self-reflection helps us, examine our beliefs and values. Creativity unlocks our imagination.
Unlock that imagination.
Goal setting helps us, get clear on our aspirations. And then mindfulness brings us back to the present moment.
Right. It's like having a full toolkit for self-discovery.
I love that. A toolkit for self-discovery.
And, just like with any skill, journaling takes practice.
It does.
The more you do it, the more comfortable and confident you become.
And who knows, maybe your journal will become, your best friend.
Oh, I love that. Like a trusted confidant.
A place where you can just, let it all out.
Yeah.
And not be judged. And speaking of, taking those first steps, Lestallion says, every big dream starts with a single step. It's so true.
And that single step could be picking up your journal and just writing.
It could.
Even if it's just for 5 minutes.
Even if it's just one sentence, it's about showing up for yourself.
So we talked about, creating a ritual, letting go of perfectionism, embracing the mess, experimenting, all that good stuff.
That's good tips.
Is there anything else we can do to, make our journaling sessions even more awesome?
Yes. One technique that I find incredibly helpful is to go back and read your old journal entries.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it can be so fascinating and insightful to just see how your thoughts and feelings have evolved over time.
So it's like having a conversation with your past self.
It is.
Almost. Yeah.
And, as you're rereading those entries, you might start to notice patterns in your thinking.
Ooh, patterns. I like that.
Or in your behavior that you weren't even aware of before.
And those patterns can be really revealing, right?
They can. They can help you understand your triggers, your strengths, your weaknesses, your potential for growth.
So it's like you're putting together this, puzzle of your own identity.
I love that.
One journal entry at a time.
And as you gather more pieces, you gain this deeper understanding of, who you are at your core.
And what you're truly capable of.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, so we've got rereading those old entries. What other cool techniques can we try?
Another really powerful one is to use prompts that encourage you to connect with your senses.
Our senses. Okay.
So, instead of just thinking about things, you're actually bringing in the physical experience as well.
Interesting.
So, for example, you might ask yourself, what sounds do I hear right now? Or what sense am I noticing? Or what sensations can I feel in my body?
Oh, okay. So it's like we're bringing mindfulness into the writing practice.
Totally. You're grounding yourself in the present moment.
I love that.
And when we engage our senses like that, we often tap into a deeper level of awareness and emotion.
It's like we're painting a richer, more vibrant picture of our inner world.
Exactly. You're bringing it to life.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Rituals, letting go of perfectionism, sensory prompts, revisiting old entries.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is the most important takeaway for our listener when it comes to the actual process of journaling?
I think the most important thing is to approach it with a sense of curiosity and playfulness.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about doing it right or achieving a certain outcome.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. It's about creating a space where you can connect with yourself on a deeper level and explore the richness of your own inner world.
I love that. And it makes it sound a lot less intimidating, too.
I hope so, because it really should be an enjoyable experience.
Make it fun.
Absolutely. And remember, this journey of self-discovery, it's ongoing. There's always more to learn and explore.
We're always evolving.
We are, and our journals can be such incredible companions along the way.
And, who knows? Maybe one day your journal will start talking back to you. Okay, that's a little creepy, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's about, creating that dialogue with ourselves.
Yes.
Listening to those whispers of our hearts and those nudges of our intuition.
And, the more we listen, the more wisdom and insight will emerge.
Ooh, chills.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired to go grab my journal right now.
Me too. There's something so magical about putting pen to paper.
It's like you're creating a tangible record of your inner journey.
You are. And that record can be so valuable.
I love that.
Mm.
Okay, so we've talked about the prompts, the process.
We're ready for the next step.
Now it's time to get to, the juicy stuff.
The nitty-gritty.
The insights, the discoveries that await us within the pages of our journals.
I'm excited to dive into that.
Stay tuned, folks, because this is where it gets really interesting. All right, so we've talked about, what to journal about and how to actually do it. But now I want to get into the why. What are we actually getting out of this?
Right, what's the payoff?
What's the point? Especially when we're using these, targeted prompts. What can we really expect to see change in our lives?
Well, the benefits of journaling, they go way beyond just venting or organizing your thought. We're talking tangible improvements in your well-being, in your relationships, even in achieving your goals.
Okay, so give me an example. Paint me a picture. What kind of transformation are we talking about?
Okay, well, let's take stress management, for example.
Mhm.
So many people find that journaling just helps them untangle all those anxieties.
Right.
And there was actually a study in the Journal of Consulting and Clinical Psychology that showed that writing about stressful experiences for just 15 minutes a day for just a few days led to a significant reduction in stress symptoms weeks later.
Wow, so it's not just about feeling better in the moment. It's actually creating lasting change.
Exactly. It's like you're rewiring your brain to respond to stress in a healthier way.
But how does that actually work? Is it just about getting stuff off your chest?
Well, it's partly that for sure. But there's a cognitive element to it too. When you write about your stressors, you're actually processing them. You're forced to articulate what's bothering you. And sometimes that can help you gain perspective.
So it's you're taking these abstract, swirling thoughts and making them concrete.
Exactly. And when you can see them on paper, you can start to see solutions that you might have missed before.
So it's not just about feeling better. It's about actually, problem solving, too.
Exactly. And this applies to so many areas of life, Journaling can help you improve your self-awareness.
Mhm.
It can boost your creativity, strengthen your relationships, make progress toward your goals.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get the bigger picture here. It's it's not just about, pretty notebooks and fancy pens.
No, it's so much more than that.
It's about using journaling as a tool to, so you said level up your life.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, it's totally customizable. You can tailor your journaling practice to whatever you want to work on.
Oh, I love that. So, for our listener who is already all in on self-improvement, how would you suggest they integrate journaling into their routine for, maximum impact?
Well, first I'd say identify, what are your top goals? What are the areas where you really want to see some change?
Okay.
And then choose prompts from Lestallion's list or even create your own that really speak to those areas.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, consistency is key. Even just a few minutes a day can make a huge difference.
And don't forget to go back and reread those entries like we were talking about before. It's amazing how much you can learn from, your past self.
That's so true. And as you're reading, pay attention to any themes or patterns that come up.
Okay.
That's where the real gold is, the insights that can lead to major breakthroughs.
So it's having this personalized feedback loop going on in your journal.
It is.
I love that. Now, I want to circle back to something you said earlier. You asked this really thought-provoking question. You asked, what would your journal say to you if it could talk? What made you think of that?
I think it's so easy to get caught up in the external world, all the noise and the demands and the expectations.
Right.
But our journals, they offer this direct line to our inner wisdom, to that quiet voice that often gets drowned out.
So it's about, tuning in, trusting our own intuition and insights.
Exactly. And that can be really empowering, When we learn to listen to ourselves, we become less reliant on outside validation.
Right. We become more confident in our own choices.
Exactly. And it's we're taking back our power.
I love that. And what better way to do that than through, this daily dialogue with ourselves in our journals?
I couldn't agree more. It's a practice that can truly transform our lives.
Well, I think we've given our listener a lot to think about today. We've explored the power of journaling, from the science behind it to practical tips to the amazing insights that await us.
Yeah, and we've only scratched the surface. There are so many resources out there, like online communities, guided journals, even workshops. I encourage everyone to go explore.
And for our listener who's ready to dive in, we'll be sure to include a link to Lestallion's blog post in the show notes so you can check out all 50 of those prompts.
And remember, there's no right or wrong way to journal. It's about finding what works for you and making it a practice that brings you joy, clarity, and a deeper connection to yourself.
I love that. That's such a great note to end on.
And who knows, maybe your journal will even start talking back to you.
Okay, maybe not literally, but I think you might be surprised by the wisdom you find along the way.
Absolutely.
So to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of journaling prompts. We hope you feel inspired to embark on your own journaling journey.
Happy writing.